What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast. I am your host, the Notorious Nerdy D, and as always on Fridays, I am joined by the co-host and my beautiful wife, Level Up Lauren.
What's up, y'all?
Tonight, we are about to break down pro wrestling for all the true casual fans. So whether you are listening on podcast networks or watching on YouTube, make sure to like and leave a comment on this week's episode. Without wasting any time, let's jump straight into topic number one. All right, Lauren, it's official. Vince McMahon, the former CEO of WWE, released a statement addressing the controversy surrounding his return to the company. In a statement, Vince McMahon explained that he had attempted to return to the WWE in order to help the company through a difficult time and ensure that it remained competitive. He has also said that he has not intended to take an active role in the day-to-day operations of the company. Lauren, in your opinion, do you think Vince McMahon is telling the truth about his return back to WWE? If you have questions, okay, ask questions, because I understand you probably aren't as informed in this story.
So I kind of know like what's going on with it. But
I'll kind of break it down for you. So he, around December 20th, he petitioned the board of directors to return back to the company under the idea that he was going to return to negotiate the media rights for their next big media deal.
Yeah.
And to start to look for a sell of the company. So he's basically announcing the bigger story here that nobody's talking about is he's essentially saying he's ready to sell the WWE.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. To who?
But this is the problem. And this is before we get into the question is, do you believe that? So does that not seem like the perfect ruse to use to bring yourself? To me, it looks like Vince McMahon's taking a step progression here. He knows if I just get my foot back inside the door,
then I'm okay.
Then I can start to work myself back into it's the take an inch to gain a mile.
Yeah.
If he gets his foot in the door and he starts negotiating TV deals, he can talk like he's working out a sell of the company. But is that not? I mean, do you believe that he's not just inching himself closer to getting back into the day-to-day operations?
100%. I definitely think that that's what he's doing. And I honestly think that like maybe he stepped back and he was like, let's see how this goes. And the fact that he wants to negotiate the TV rights, isn't he the one who negotiated all of them in the first place, like the first time around?
So it's coming back up. It's not like he needs to fix them or anything. It's
but like he's the one who did it the first time.
Yeah, and he's probably the most well equipped, and the stocks have all risen based on his. I mean, he's back. Like as of today. No, I mean it's official. They filed with the SEC
FCC or whatever.
Yeah, SEC, and they removed 3 people from the board of directors, and Vince McMahon is officially back to being a part of the WWE. They removed 3 board of directors. Somebody, I think, quit in protest.
Yeah.
They had a huge meeting this morning, I believe, where they sat down everybody that is like essential personnel in the company and had a long discussion about Vince is returning. He's not going to touch day-to-day. Stephanie and Nick Khan are going to remain the CEOs for the time being. Triple H is going to remain as head of creative. But there was this weird like sentence at the end that said, for the time being.
Yeah.
That's interesting that they didn't, it wasn't a definitive statement of like, this is how it's going to be. The statement was for the time being. I do believe I 100% Vince McMahon is going to work on professional wrestling until the day he dies.
So like, do you care if he comes back? Like, does it bother you?
I don't know. I'm not sold on the idea that Triple H just completely changed the industry in the same way that other people believe that he just booked WWE into this wonderful world. I think that Triple H's relationships with wrestlers was far superior to Vince McMahon's. I think Vince McMahon kind of ruled with a fear, and that Triple H ruled with an open arm. That's just me looking at the situation.
You say that, right? Like, in my opinion, I don't care that he's back. I didn't really bother. I mean, like, and I might get hate for it because like I'm a woman or whatever, but like, I didn't care that he left. Like, I mean, I care that he left, but like all the shit that went down, it happened.
Yeah, I don't know that you know all the details.
I don't know everything.
So that's the problem. But
like, I can separate the man from the business. I thought he did good stuff.
But he used company money. That's what you're not.
Well,
you're not acknowledging. What you're trying to reference is the fact that he cheated on his wife multiple times and he paid people off to hide it, and that while that's a bad thing, as long as it's not illegal, you don't have a huge problem with it. Understand that, but I think the bigger problem is the means of which, like borrowing money from the company, using hush money.
That's right.
I think that is doing it within people in the company. Then you have to think about like the power dynamics. While maybe it's not illegal to do some of the things he did, but his stature and being CEO of WWE alludes a certain amount of pressure to women to acquiesce to his whims within that company. So like it's much more, I think. It's deeper than just surface level of going like, I understand what you're saying. Like, it doesn't bother you that much. And I don't even really want to dive into that side of it as much as like Vince McMahon coming back. Does that bother me? No, because I believe that Vince McMahon sat out long enough. It was about 6 months that he was able to see the positive kind of uplift of his company when he was gone. And I think that Vince McMahon is smart enough to understand probably that like there are certain things that had to change. And I don't think he's going to step back in and try to resume control of creative. Mm-hmm. But when his foot's in the door, I believe that he has a say so. And like when he's able to walk now down to Triple H's office and go, why don't we do this? Mm-hmm. There's going to be more pressure put on.
Well, it almost reminds me too, like you said it, like Triple H had a better relationship and he ruled more like with an iron fist. I think sometimes you need a little bit of both in order to make the company great. Oh, you
do. Trust me. I brought that up about a week ago. I said that
it's like mommy and daddy. You need them both.
It was when the guy from Hit Row, Top Dollar, did the dive over the top of the rope.
Yes,
and
I remember you talking about that.
And then I talked about Ricochet coming out and swinging the chair and actually catching someone in the Gunther in the head and cutting him open.
That would have been a big deal.
I think that you have to have somebody who's just not like, it's okay. Or like in the John Cena return match here this last week, the audio group in the back left the microphones hot in the ring, and you can hear the referee say, "Don't move, Roman. Hot tag coming." She's calling the spots out.
That's
and that
crazy.
100% breaks kayfabe. And I think that I'm just under the belief that Triple H is probably a little more understanding. I think that Vince McMahon's the guy who goes back there and goes,
fired.
That doesn't happen. The reason we are the best, I don't think he fires them, but I think the reason we are the best company in the world is because
we don't do that shit.
We don't allow those kind of mistakes to happen. And so I do think, like you said, people tend to get relaxed with a regimen change. And I do think that there's this argument and this thing, well, everybody's happier now that Vince McMahon's gone. Yeah. I mean, when the rules loosen, everybody gets happier. That doesn't mean it's best for the company.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I think that what is ultimately best for WWE is if this all plays out the way it is, where Vince McMahon comes and takes a business role within the company and Triple H assumes the creative and the talent relations side. I think there's a harmony that could be had where people still fear Vince McMahon and they fear the wrath of Vince, but they're able to kind of confide into Triple H as long as Vince allows Triple H to really have that authority. Yeah. If he comes in and immediately overshadows him, it'll get messy and it'll probably end up being worse than what it was before.
I have another random question that popped in my head.
For it.
Okay, so if like Vince McMahon, we'll call him Daddy Vince, right?
Okay.
He's kind of the one that says like, you can't do that. These are the rules and you have to follow them. After he steps away, who is the next person to fulfill that role? If we find that him and Triple H are like a magical match together. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's so.
Would it be Stephanie?
I think she already is. I think Stephanie already is that person. Mm-hmm. I think that the problem is Vince stepping back in. He's really not supposed to probably have any association with any of the wrestlers. I'm just alluding to the fact that, do we believe Vince McMahon, once his foot is back in the door, is not at least mentoring and trying to talk to people? Like,
yes.
That's the thing. I think the question you ask is like, what happens when Vince is gone? Here's the reality. If we take this at face value, Vince is gone anyway, because he's negotiating a sell of the company.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so if you want to take this, because I'm not taking it at face value, but if you want to take this at face value, what are people upset about? He's coming in to sell the company. That doesn't mean he wants to return. It means he believes the company that he owns, he is the most fit to negotiate that sell. I don't have a problem with that, if that's really what's happening. And like, I know like Disney's probably in play. Peacock, NBC Universal's probably in play. I'm going to guess Fox has an eyeball on this. They're a definite company. The bigger question I think that you have to ask, though, is what does this mean for the next 5 years of WWE? Like, what are we going to see? Just a complete restructuring of the company? Because I imagine when they get in, whoever buys the company gets in and digs through the pieces. There's a lot of dysfunction, I'm imagining, in a company that's been run by a family since its inception. Like, there's just certain things that get done a certain way because it makes family members more comfortable rather than, oh, this is the right way we do this.
Yeah.
So what happens when let's say NBC Universal comes in and starts combing through these entities and starts making decisions based on business? I think that's always a problem. It's always a problem, right? Because say what you want about Vince, Triple H, Stephanie, they have the business in their blood. So the decisions they make aren't always necessarily made on business. They're made on somewhat of a feeling. And I think that having someone from like NBC Universal come in and start just looking at pure numbers, it can't, like, I do think that's extremely interesting of what could happen. But how do you think, so another question, how do you think the wrestlers, when they wake up this morning and they hear that like, because I know yesterday the big thing on Twitter was that everybody was saying, well, it won't happen till May because he'll have to get this approved. And
yeah,
we wake up this morning and it's an immediate thing filed with the SEC. Vince McMahon is back in charge and inside the WWE company structure. Like, so if you're some of these, like, imagine like Karrion Kross.
Oh, who the guys who like got fired and kind of like were gonna get buried by him, right?
Gunther, right?
Yeah.
Like the rumor was before Vince left, like Gunther was going to be a straight up comedy act, and possibly, you know.
So I guess it depends on the wrestler, right? Like, I mean, because I would
that's my
assume
question.
that those guys would be like, oh fuck, like what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
I'd have a sense of uncertainty. But I don't know what the general consensus is, right? Like, did people not like him? Because I mean, I don't know.
So I from what I've heard, I don't think anybody didn't like him. Because I saw
Sasha was like, "Thank you, Vince."
That was all publicity.
Oh, just so like,
that was all publicity.
We'll see her.
We can talk about it right now. I don't care. Or I think that was kind of part of topic 2 here.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about topic 2, but definitely. No, I just, it's interesting. I don't know.
I honestly don't know.
I think it's an overreaction. I think everybody in the fucking world of media is going to overreact to this. Everybody is going to go, oh no, Vince is back. Nothing's going to change.
No.
The course that we're on is the course that we're on. In fact, if you want to be real.
If you proved yourself, then you should have nothing to worry about.
What are you talking about?
Like so Gunther, whatever. The fact that Vince was going to bury him, and then he came out and he was like, look what the fuck I can do.
Yeah, I'm not worried about. But he had already proved himself. I think the argument is that Vince just gets this weird taste in his mouth for certain people. What I'm not referring to is not the wrestlers. I don't. You know what? If they're fucking worried, like you said, they probably weren't performing already anyway. I'm more talking about like people overreacting in the media, going like, "Oh my God, Vince is back."
Fucking everybody's gonna blow shit up.
The booking is nothing's gonna change. We're staying. It may get better because Vince McMahon still has relationships with The Rock, with Stone Cold, with Brock Lesnar, and some of those relationships that might have even been a little bit strained when he left.
Yeah.
Now that he's back in the company, Brock Lesnar may have this like even deeper level of comfort going, oh, cool. Yeah, no, I'm back. And The Rock may go, all right, cool. My relationship with Vince, I'm back.
Yeah.
So I think in the end run, it will probably benefit WWE. I think once everybody's done overreacting and pretending like he's going to come in and grab a stranglehold over creative, like for sure, he's not going to fuck with anything, I think, through WrestleMania 39. Where you start to worry is, this is the problem. Where you start to worry is if he makes it to WrestleMania 39 and the world has kind of just forgot about what he's done, then he can take one more step forward and go, well, I'm going to re-implement myself as CEO of the company. And then from that step, he can go, well, I'm going to take over a portion of the creative control, you know?
Yeah.
And so you can see him step in.
And people do forget things. I mean, it just
100%.
takes
That's just the way the world works.
The next big thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's why he was able to make it here, right?
Yeah.
Is because
he shut up and he stayed out of the limelight long enough.
there was this public outcry that like Vince is done forever. And here we are 6 weeks or 6 months removed with people just kind of laying back off of what happened. And Vince kind of went like, hey, fuck you guys. I should have just jumped right back in immediately. Mm-hmm. We'll see. It'll be interesting. All right, guys, let me take a short break to remind you that I've been putting a lot of time and effort into creating this podcast, and I am grateful for all the support I have received so far. If you are enjoying the show, I would really appreciate if you considered supporting me on Patreon. By joining the Patreon community, you'll be able to help me continue producing high quality content and bringing new and interesting ideas to the table. Plus, you will get access to exclusive bonus content and other perks starting late January. I am so grateful for the support you guys give me, and I can't wait to see how this channel continues to grow. If you are interested in joining the Patreon community, just click the link in the description of this video or go to patreon.com/thecasualwrestlingshow. Thank you guys again for listening. I can't wait for you guys to see the cool stuff we do this year. And I'd like to give a shout out to the current Patreon producers of this show. It's Zinni, Randall Beatley. Randall, tell me if I'm saying that right. Randall Beatley, who is the host of the Slapping Meat Wrestling podcast. So go check that out. And Ian the Noobs Newberry. So thank you guys for being Patreon producers of the show. Let's get back to it. All right, Lauren, let's run it back. Let's talk about a couple things that I talked about this week. One of the biggest things and what got the biggest reaction was I talked a lot about Sasha Banks joining New Japan Pro Wrestling. I talked about her possibly looking like she was under the influence of something, which
allegedly,
which, you know, caused a stir that like, you're not allowed to ask questions anymore,
which is stupid.
It doesn't make sense. You're not allowed to. There is clearly something with her voice pattern.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not willing. I don't think it's the echo. I have enough experience with audio engineering that I don't believe it was the.
You have like a degree in that.
There's a phenomenon of when you're in a large stadium and you talk on a microphone, the time it takes for your words to go into the microphone, hit that speaker, and come back to you can causes a problem in your cadence. But what she was doing was definitely slurred speech and not cadence. And I've gone with, like, I'm okay with the argument that maybe she has a speech impediment that I've just never picked up on.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just really bad at cutting promos. I'm okay with the argument that, like, maybe she had a retainer or something like that in.
Yeah.
Now, I will
like
tell you, once again, this is alleged, but there are photos of her in the locker room, and there's a lot of cups with, like, orange juice and shit in them. And, like, you know, that's tends to be a mixer, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cups. Bayley looks like she's pretty fucking lit up in the back, too.
Yeah.
Like and who blames them? They're all excited. It is what it is. Now, what I want to talk about, I don't want to really get back into that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about is on AEW this past week, Saraya announced that Toni Storm is her partner for the mystery match with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker after everybody assumed that it was going to be Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
And Britt Baker dropped a line even that she's the boss or the CEO or something of the company. And so, like, do you think there's a chance Sasha Banks ends up in AEW?
So, yes, in the sense that Tony Khan just likes to fill up his toy box.
Okay, but that was a little bit of a dodge of the question because do I think Tony Khan wants Sasha Banks? 100%. I think. So,
do I think that Sasha Banks would go? Is the other question?
Will. Not would. Will.
No, because what I foresee, like, I mean, I don't know that much about New Japan Wrestling. I don't know how much money she's getting paid. I don't know what her ventures are like.
Lots of money.
Do you fuck up any chances of you ever going back to the WWE
Yes.
if you do that?
Yes.
Then no.
Yeah. So that
no, because I think you want to leave that door open
you're making the same argument I make, is that
Okay.
I think the minute she signs a contract with AEW, she slams the door on a return back to WWE. I think as long as she's playing in the New Japan Pro Wrestling sandbox, that WWE, it's irrelevant to them. They're not even really concerned with it. It honestly may benefit them a little bit because somehow they get residual fallout from her being over there. They get a little bit of media attention. But so I'm with you. What I think that, everybody keeps pointing to the Britt Baker promo where she says, "I'm the boss in this company." I said it yesterday and I'm gonna say it again today. I think that AEW is trying to entice her. I think that line was meant to instigate Sasha Banks more than it was a hint at her showing up. I'm like you. I don't know that with all the things that it looks like Mercedes Moné is trying to do, I don't know that she wants to tie herself down to a weekly wrestling contract at this point.
So, I mean, Ruby Riott, right? She went to
Don't
AEW.
make that comparison.
But what I'm saying is, like, she thought that she was going to be so great, but she's on Dark all the time.
But that's not a
like,
fair
who
comparison.
from WWE has gone, like a woman? Which woman?
But once again, that's like when the NFL pulls up those real obscure stats. Like, which woman? Like Toni Storm.
So she did good, right?
Yeah, so you just asked for one. I
forgot about her.
Exactly.
I've even forgotten that she was in WWE. Now I just assume that she's an AEW girl.
Yeah, I don't.
But because I didn't even see enough of her in WWE, just like some pie shit.
It's not going to be a success issue for Sasha Banks. If she goes to AEW,
see what she does in New Japan.
Nothing. She's going to do nothing. Everybody will pay attention to this first event, and then she will be irrelevant outside of the hardcore Sasha Banks fans that exist. That is what I'm talking about with WWE. They don't care because she will get a ton of attention at this first event in San Jose, and then it will immediately cool off.
Well, I'm also interested to see how she like wrestles and stuff. Like what happens. Like, I don't know. I want to see it.
She will look exactly like what she looked like in WWE. She didn't take some magic potion when she left that made her something she's not.
When we were watching everything, right? I was kind of like, what the fuck?
She's underwhelming. And I agree with, we talked about this the other day. Without all the sparkle, without the marketing arm of WWE, she's really not.
The song, bro.
Man, that new song is terrible. And I see, but there's this group of like Sasha Banks loyalists who are like, oh, this is fucking,
no, it's not.
It's so much like cleaner. No, it's not.
No,
the other song had fucking Snoop Dogg in it.
Exactly.
And now you're going to a song that just keeps saying over and over, it's money.
That sounds like the song that like the person makes in that like recording studio that's in a bathtub.
It sounded like Fruity Loops, like a program on your computer where you tap out the beat and then you fucking bang out a couple chords and melodies.
We couldn't find out it was made on the phone.
Nailed it. That's it. Like it's not a good song. Her outfit, people are, oh y'all look. No, it didn't have the fucking glitter. It didn't have the fucking sparkle. When you lose the marketing arm and that fucking just team of WWE, there is going to be a drop off. And Sasha Banks was one of the people who benefited the most from.
That's why I loved her, was her outfit, her song. And I was just like, I love Sasha Banks. But I didn't know what I really loved about Sasha Banks. It was that.
But I think that this is my opinion. They're gonna WWE. This doesn't bother them. They let her wrestle in Japan. She does San Jose. It does whatever it does. It'll get a big audience from the IWC. Mm-hmm. Then the next one will be even less, and it will be. She's not going to build upward. So then she'll have a decision to make. She can either attempt to bet on herself and go to AEW, and if she does that, there is the position of creating a bigger brand for herself, or you go back to the comfort food that you know works, and you go back to WWE. And I think that no matter what, just based on this first appearance and the San Jose appearance, she can return back to WWE claiming victory, claiming that she went and did something on her own. And she did. I mean, there has to be props given for her to be willing to just leave WWE and go try something completely different.
No, I agree.
But it's the same argument made with like when CM Punk got his ass beaten in UFC. only time will tell if this was the right or wrong decision for her.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about. I talked about this week on Monday Night Raw. Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss had a championship match.
Yes.
Which Alexa, the Bray Wyatt logo flashed on the screen, and Alexa snapped, beat up the referee, beat up Bianca Belair. It's got this whole new kind of more interesting character going on. But I read an article that said WWE is fully committed to turning Alexa Bliss 100% heel. Now, I don't know if you heard in that match when Alexa Bliss DDT'd Bianca Belair onto the metal stairs and actually busted her lip open.
Yeah, I was like, there's blood.
I don't know if you saw the pictures of her afterwards.
No,
with
I didn't
stitches,
actually.
and her face is just completely swollen. So it's like
and then she fucking went back for more.
But because the crowd was asking for it.
Yeah.
And so I posed this argument earlier this week. I did a video where I said the bad booking of Bianca Belair has caused fans to turn on her. And once again, you get these armies of people on the internet who they don't want to hear anything negative. I'm a huge Bianca Belair fan.
Yeah. You picked her as like the most beautiful one in WWE.
And so, for me to then be honest about it and everybody, you just hate her and this shit. It's like, be objective when you listen to what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that the booking of WWE is causing fatigue with the fans. There is a reason that Alexa Bliss DDT'd her twice on the metal stairs and was walking off in Bianca Belair's home state of Tennessee, and the fans start cheering one more time.
Yeah. I mean, we literally sat there and said it to each other like, dude, they're like not even cheering her on.
They turned on her in that moment.
It's not like that one time when she had like that ceremony, remember, where she was like, thank you guys. And
she
everybody
was the
like,
underdog.
Ah!
She was the underdog. When Bianca Belair is the underdog, she is the most lovable underdog in all of professional sports. And I got people telling me, well, how do you make her underdog? It's easy. She just has to lose a few times. That's it. You have to put her against Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, people that are believable and don't tarnish you when you get... If Bianca Belair gets beat by Rhea Ripley, that doesn't tarnish who she is. No. It just makes Rhea Ripley seem strong. Yeah. We already know that Charlotte is booked as the toughest person in WWE, so it doesn't hurt Bianca Belair to lose that match. But what's happening is you're taking a beloved superstar in Alexa Bliss. Fans love Alexa Bliss. I mean, and so you're trying to, against the fans' will, turn her heel against somebody who I made the comparisons to John Cena because she's the top babyface in the company, but they're booking her down our throats. They're just win. I think someone sent me her record was like 52-2 since like 2021. So it was like this astonishing Bianca doesn't lose record in singles matches. And so I mean, I don't know. Do you think the fans will really do you think a lot of times fans won't accept the booking? I don't think that fans are going to cheer for Bianca Belair when she's put in a program against Alexa Bliss. So you have two opportunities. One, you can turn Bianca Belair heel right here and just see what she's made of. Give her the opportunity to turn on the fans. Right now is the opportunity. She shows up and she says, you assholes booed me. What was that? We were in Tennessee and you booed me. This is bullshit. I've been playing the happy character, but now I'm going to show you what a real fucking monster looks like. And then you can book her as this powerful heel.
Yeah.
For the next 3 or 4 months. And you could even do a cool match at WrestleMania where Bianca Belair is the heel and Charlotte Flair is the babyface. That works. But I cannot see, especially right now with as over as Bray Wyatt is. Because the fans are in kind of love with this Bray Wyatt thing. So explain to me, explain to me how this isn't messy. So Bray Wyatt is a babyface. Mm-hmm. LA Knight is the heel.
Yeah.
Uncle Howdy is the weird in-between that we don't know yet what his ultimate intentions are. Mm-hmm. But if Bray Wyatt is the babyface, how is Alexa Bliss a heel? What does that not create this weird dynamic of intentions between this Wyatt situation?
I'm just way fucking confused in the whole Wyatt thing. I'm not going to lie, but I just like Bray Wyatt and I like Alexa Bliss. So, and I'm willing to overlook the confusion of it, I guess. Just because I want to see what happens, but I don't know what the fuck gets going or what's going on.
So stop right there. That's the argument I made earlier in the week. It is that casual fans It's splintering too much that it's like I like Bray Wyatt. But stay with me because I'm coming back. That's why it's not going to work turning Alexa Bliss heel, because what you said is exactly right. You go, I just kind of like it. Well, but Alexa Bliss, we just kind of like her.
Yeah.
We don't want to turn, and I don't want to boo Alexa Bliss right now.
No, I'll never boo Alexa Bliss.
So, but that's my point. How do they think that's going to, right now, from where my mindset is, I would rather boo Bianca Belair, who is my favorite female wrestler, than I would rather boo Alexa Bliss, because I don't understand why I should be booing Alexa Bliss. I am intrigued by her involvement with Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
Not upset about it. So that's interesting. Last thing I want to talk about in the run back is so they teased Cody, not even teased. They started like a docu-series during Monday Night Raw about Cody Rhodes, and they're essentially the Royal Rumble poster has been released and Cody Rhodes is right in the middle. So it's not even a secret. Cody Rhodes will be in the Royal Rumble this year, which has led me to speculate. This was my thought process.
Okay.
You don't waste that pop, that surprise return, unless you know definitively Cody Rhodes is not going to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And I think everybody had Cody slated to win the Royal Rumble. I don't think that anybody had any other option except The Rock. So I argued this week that Cody Rhodes being announced early was a way to keep that surprise off of Royal Rumble, because there's a bigger surprise coming.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Did you follow me there?
Sorry, I don't want to die. Yes, I was like, wait, what?
So if you don't
I 100% get what you're saying, and I agree with you.
If you don't have a surprise on the level of The Rock, Cody Rhodes is that surprise at Royal Rumble. Why waste it by bringing him back early?
Yeah.
Like the Royal Rumble it's the one event where you don't have to promote a guy early. People are going to watch the Royal Rumble. It doesn't matter who's in it. That is an event that sells itself. So you don't have to go, well, Cody's going to be there, guys. And everybody goes, well, now I really need to buy this and go see this. So you don't waste that surprise unless
you got something bigger.
You have. And so I think that, and if you've seen the poster, I don't know if you have.
I haven't yet.
It's a little bit telling to me. It's a cloud. It's a bunch of clouds. It's a bunch of superstars that kind of go up the right side of the poster. And then there's lightning, blue lightning. Who the fuck has blue lightning? Come on. The Rock. His whole entrance is electricity.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at this point it's a no-brainer.
Did you like my...
I don't know what this was referring to.
This is muscles.
I don't think the Rock does something like, where he throws his arm up.
I didn't know what. I never
here.
saw him wrestle. I just knew he did something like.
It's here. Yeah. But I think to me, that's what's happening is The Rock is, this pretty much guarantees that The Rock is returning at, because if not, who's the surprise?
I have no idea.
Because they already
brought back John Cena, so it's not like that's a big
Charlotte.
surprise.
They already brought back Charlotte.
Yeah.
They're already showing their hand with Cody Rhodes.
It's Naomi.
I mean, I think that Naomi may be in the Royal Rumble, but I think that number 30 Royal Rumble, it's going to be the last match of the night. It's The Rock. The Rock comes out. I don't think that Cody Rhodes is still in the ring when The Rock gets there. I don't know that they want to pin those two against each other right now. I'm assuming that
maybe everybody will gang up on him and throw him out.
Seth Rollins was injured and they threw up the X and it looked like a real injury.
Yeah.
So I'm banking on the idea that was not real. That's probably a stupid assumption because when they throw up that X, it usually means it's injury. But I'm assuming that they're going to let Seth go away for the next couple weeks. Cody comes out and at some point in the Royal Rumble, Seth comes out and eliminates Cody Rhodes, turning him back into the ultimate heel in the company.
Yeah.
I think it's a heel turn for Seth Rollins. I think Cody comes back. They can continue what they had going through WrestleMania. The Rock comes back. He wins, starts his program with Roman Reigns, and we're full fucking speed ahead going into the Royal Rumble. What's up, guys? I have an exciting contest for you today. If you go to Spotify or Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star review on this podcast and tag us on one of your social media accounts, you will be entered to win a $25 WWE gift card. It is the perfect opportunity to show your support for the show and to get your hands on some sweet WWE merchandise. The winner will be announced at the end of January, so make sure to follow us on social media to stay updated. Don't wait. Leave your review. Tag us on social media to qualify. We'll contact the winner through their social media account. So make sure to follow us and stay updated. Good luck, and thank you guys for your continued support. All right, topic number 3. According to former WWE referee and manager Teddy Long, WWE wrestler Ronda Rousey does not take wrestling seriously. Long made the comment in a recent interview stating that Rousey's lack of dedication to wrestling has hindered her in-ring performance. Rousey has not publicly responded to Long's comments yet. My question to you, Lauren, is do you agree with Teddy Long's assessment that Ronda Rousey does not take professional wrestling seriously?
Well, I think for her, this is just kind of something fun to do. Like, she gets paid, she gets to have fun, but it's not UFC level to her. Does that make sense?
Does it make sense, or are you asking if I agree?
So in my opinion, that's how I see it. Like, a hobby is how I would see it. Like UFC was my profession, but wrestling is my hobby.
So I think you're agreeing with Teddy Long then.
Yes.
That's what he's saying. So
Yeah.
I disagree with both of you.
Okay.
I'm going to say, I think that the problem is when you start to place a level of expectation on what somebody's commitment is. Do I think Ronda Rousey wants to be the face of WWE? No, I don't. But I think
I'll agree with you.
I think she was immediately thrust into that spotlight. And I think every time she tries to find a groove, they immediately put her into a bad situation. I don't think it's not that she's taking it seriously. I think that WWE continues to rely on who she is instead of what her talent level is. Okay. There's a problem with wrestling in 2023 that these celebrities and outsiders come into the company, and people like, let's talk about Logan Paul for a second. Logan Paul has been praised all year about how he came in, he took it so seriously, but he was booked in such a protected way. The Miz carried him through WrestleMania. Now, did he hit a couple big moves? Yeah, but he didn't have to do any real wrestling, And then he had the match with The Miz at SummerSlam, and it was kind of the same thing. It was, here's a big moment of me jumping off the ropes holding the phone, but I'm not really putting together full programs or stories where I have to show up every week. With Ronda Rousey, we've created a different expectation. With Ronda Rousey, we expect you need to be like Charlotte Flair, even though you spent your whole life doing something completely different and being successful at something different. Charlotte Flair, when she came in to be a professional wrestler, that was it. She had to either be successful or not. Where I will agree with you on Ronda Rousey is, I don't think it's a hobby, but I think that people have to take it for what it is. I do think it's something that she wants to enjoy and not feel pressured into, let's put the company on my shoulders.
Yeah, and I don't think that's fair to do that either because, well, she's kind of come out and said that before, right?
She came out and said that
in that interview
that her want was to put other women over, to use her spotlight to put Liv Morgan over and other people over. And while I think WWE has not given her that opportunity to really do that, I do think that is her intention. I'm going to talk about right now. I've been saying this shit for the last 3 weeks. I've been talking about, while everybody else was going, it's going to be Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. And they go, well, Becky doesn't want to get in the ring with Ronda. I don't think that's what it is. I don't think Ronda wants that main event. I don't think Ronda wants to take that spotlight from somebody who has put the work in She would rather that go to a Liv Morgan. She'd rather that go to a Rhea Ripley. I honestly believe that. I think that Ronda Rousey, we're going to see, and we've already started to see, but we're going to see a whole different version of Ronda Rousey when she's able to be comfortable and be booked next to one of her best friends, Shayna Baszler, in the tag team division. And Lord and behold, I've been yelling this for the last couple weeks. Nobody was fucking talking about it. But Ronda Rousey came out and said, she fucking tweeted, I'm starting to feel like the tag team vision needs a switch up.
Yeah.
She says, I'm starting to feel like me and Shayna need to go show this division.
You said that for like ever.
Because it was the most obvious line of booking to make Ronda Rousey a likable character.
More natural. It's enjoyable.
She is a great bully.
Yeah.
Her and Shayna are great bullies. But the title division right now doesn't need a bully. That's not what it needs. But the tag team division needs all the help in the world. It needs something to build that up. And what would build those belts up better than Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler going on a year-long just beating down like bitches just every week.
Beating down bitches.
Just fucking people up every week.
Yeah.
Like that would be fun.
That would be interesting, and I like it.
It does two things. It does two things that are extremely important here. Number one, I don't think Ronda Rousey is in this for the next 10 years. I don't think so. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe as long as it's fun. But what it does is it elevates Shayna Baszler. And it will give credibility. Being next to Ronda Rousey will continue to elevate Shayna Baszler to the point where everybody's always said she is she can be a main event type talent, but Ronda Rousey can give her that push. And Ronda Rousey is much better on the microphone when she's talking to Shayna than when she's talking to the crowd. And so,
yes.
So I disagree with Teddy Long. I don't think it's a fair assessment. I don't think it's fair that we give Logan Paul this, we crown him breakout star of the year, which I agree with.
100%.
I did too, but I don't think it's fair.
When you put it like that, I mean, I guess that is an unfair label for me to put on her, because I did just kind of give him that pass. Like, oh, he's so amazing because he did this, but I'm expecting somebody else to show up every day.
Imagine Ronda Rousey only has to wrestle 3 times a year.
Well, then she could be at that level.
But imagine she only has to wrestle 3 times a year. And imagine that when she comes in, she gets to fight against whoever has worked all year to elevate themselves, like The Miz or Roman Reigns, to a certain level, and you get to come in and you get to feel the heat off of that star, right?
Yeah. Then it's like, oh shit.
That's why I say Ronda Rousey has attempted at this point. We cannot knock her. She's showing up every week. Mm-hmm. She looks to be just another member of the roster now. There was a time where Ronda Rousey only kind of showed up when she was champion or when she was involved in a major storyline. But it kind of looks to me like Ronda's showing up on a weekly basis. And I got to tell you, Ronda Rousey has the type of fuck you money that you don't show up every week if you're not committed and enjoying what you're doing. I honestly believe that they've booked her. I don't think Ronda's extremely comfortable being the good guy, and they tried to book her as a good guy. And I don't think so. I think she looked uninterested, right? Then I think they put her in a position to be the bad guy, but after real convoluted booking up until that point, so it didn't work again. So I think that the best answer is to get her out of the single spotlight, put her with Shayna Baszler, let her have a ton of fun. You'll see the commitment as they grow that division. But sometimes I think people like Teddy Long, they just say this shit because I think in wrestling there's a certain amount of like good old boys club.
I didn't know who the fuck Teddy Long was until we went to that one
SWE.
Yeah, in that little gym, and you told me that I had to Google him, and then.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a knock. He's an accomplished figure in wrestling, but I think that there's a good old boys club that doesn't like the idea of the outsider coming in. They don't like the idea that
Well, you said it. The people who are like, you didn't put in your dues. You didn't wrestle in these little gyms.
No,
to get
Ronda only lived in her fucking car and worked on her judo her whole life.
That bitch she should be dedicated herself.
Yeah, she should be punished later on because she wants to be a pro wrestler. That shit doesn't make sense. It's stupid.
Hey, it's your boy Jay from Jay Knows Wrestling, a bona fide member of the Dirt Sheet Press. And here's some of the stuff you missed In the dirt sheet news, being a casual wrestling fan. On New Year's Day, Shinsuke Nakamura, WWE star, wrestled for Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. He took on international superstar, the Great Muta. Shinsuke Nakamura got the win by sucking the poison out of the Great Muta's mouth, spitting it in his face, and then hitting him with the Kinshasa. A bit of controversy after the match as the Great Muta called Shinsuke Nakamura queer. It was just a translation issue, but you know how people are today. They get upset over just about anything. Also, in the dirt sheets this week, we reported that AEW star Dax Harwood has major heat with the locker room. He just released the first episode of his new podcast that will also be being canceled soon, sources say, and he spoke about his friend CM Punk and put him in a great light. He mentioned several things he did backstage for AEW stars, one of those things being buying several members of the roster Starbucks cards. This caused several on the AEW roster to get so upset that Tony Khan called an all-talent meeting to once again reiterate that CM Punk will never be back in AEW. But speaking of Dax Harwood, he went to AAA with his tag team partner to defend the AAA tag team titles. FTR lost them against WWE contracted superstar Dragon Lee. You may know Dragon Lee as Andrade El Idaro's brother or Rush's brother. This is very important because this is the first time that a WWE contracted star has defeated an AEW contracted star. Immediately after defeating FTR with his partner, Dragon Lee announced that he has signed with the WWE and has vacated the AAA tag team titles. Speaking of the tag team titles, FTR also wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom 17, where they lost the last of their tag titles. They lost the New Japan tag team titles to the Kingdom. But the very important thing about that show was Sasha Banks has made her debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. She is now going by Mercedes Moné. She has changed her presentation so much that she is no longer called the boss. She is now called the CEO. She no longer does the bank statement. She now does the Moné statement. But your boy Jay has a scoop for you. Sasha Banks may have been a bit intoxicated because her best friend in the world, Bayley, was also backstage at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 17. Could this be a hint of Bayley also thinking of jumping ship with her friend Mercedes Moné? Also, in the dirt sheets this week, Carl Anderson, WWE star, also wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom 17. If you didn't know, Carl Anderson, member of WWE's faction, the OC, was never openweight champion. He came into Wrestle Kingdom 17 and defended that title against Tama Tonga in a losing effort. But not only did Wrestle Kingdom have the debut of Mercedes Moné, AEW contracted stars FTR wrestling, but also WWE contracted star Carl Anderson wrestling there as well. And immediately after Wrestle Kingdom, Will Ospreay, straight off the loss of his IWGP United States title to Kenny Omega, teased a possible entry into the Royal Rumble. He said he's not sure how far that Forbidden Door goes, but he would love to wrestle in the WWE. Immediately after Will Ospreay made this comment, the WWE did say that there was a Forbidden Door entrant in this year's Royal Rumble. And lastly, one thing you may have missed as a casual wrestling fan, Vince McMahon soon returning to the WWE. Vince McMahon has stepped down from his role as chairman and head of creative in light of recent sexual allegations against him, but remained his status as top stockholder. Vince McMahon says he will be returning to the WWE to facilitate a sale of the company. But those just aren't the facts. Those are the dirty facts. The Dirt Sheet News!
All right, it's time for a clean finish. So, Lauren, we're changing the rules. We're changing the game. I am commissioner.
No.
I am the commissioner of the CWC, and I have officially, I talked to the board of directors in the company, and we have
Fuck are the board of directors.
I don't. It's a couple toys I have around here that I talk to. It's the only
That's
people
kind
in
of
this
bullshit.
office. No, but I've made the decision that 20 questions is now 10 questions because 20 questions. If I'm going to limit the scope to only current pro wrestlers, so I mean I'm going to give you a couple options here. We can either limit it to 10 questions, and I'm going to have to create a list of banned questions, which I don't think is fair, right? Because I think the problem is you can immediately cut the roster down to 25% by going Raw or SmackDown, man or woman. You immediately shrink that down, and then when you start playing the race game, you get there real quickly. So I think 10 questions is more appropriate. So starting today, as of today, 10 questions.
Okay.
But here's the deal.
Okay.
If you get to
If I don't get a 10, then I lose.
No, so we're gonna play seasons here. Seasons. 3 months. Okay? If you win over 50% of your games, I will take you to dinner anywhere you want to go. All right? That's the bet here. So let's start. 10 questions.
Banger.
10 questions. Start the questions.
All right.
10 questions.
Okay. Is it a man?
Yes.
Are they white?
No.
Okay.
So you immediately go back to the race, which that's why it has to, because you're down 20% of your questions are gone. Every question now matters. You don't have all these bullshit throwaway questions.
Are they on SmackDown?
No. 7 questions left. I want to add pressure, like intense. I need music.
Are they of Asian descent?
No. 6 questions left.
Are they African American?
No. 5 questions left.
Fuck other races.
Dung, 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 dung. See, you're using the race, which is
Are
such
they
bullshit.
Hispanic? I mean, there's not any other fucking races. They're not white. They're not African American.
Hold on.
They're not Asian.
I have to look something up.
The only fucking one they can be is Hispanic.
I'm having to get an official.
Go fucking Wikipedia this shit. You should have had this stuff done beforehand.
Yes, 5.
They're Hispanic.
Yes.
But the fact that you had to wonder
Yes.
if they hear Hispanic, that
says more about my intelligence than it does about the line of questioning. So no, let's get off that topic.
ew. Okay.
I had to clarify something. I didn't know
man?
for sure. Uh-huh.
And he's on Raw.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna take it. Does he have blonde hair?
No.
Okay, so it's not. Oh, is it?
4 questions.
Fuck, he would have been Asian if he was
4
Tawasaka.
questions. 4 questions. I like this 10 questions, a lot more pressure.
Did he wrestle on Monday?
I feel like no, he didn't. No.
Is he part of La Fagada Matasma?
No. You have 2 questions.
Motherfucker. I don't know how many Mexicans there are.
2 questions.
Is he part of Los Lotharios?
No.
God damn
1
it.
question. I like this.
How many fucking Mexicans are there?
Lots.
There's really not.
I don't want to give hints because I don't need you to win this.
Ew. Oh, I'm not going to fucking win this because I can't even think of one other brown person like me.
You're,
Ew. Okay. Let me go through my head. You said he did not wrestle this last week, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't even think he was
Nobody
there.
from Hit Row is Mexican. Okay. The only Mexicans I know are La Fagada Matasma.
I still can't say that.
I always forget what it's called. Los Lotharios.
Gasmo de Fantasma. I think.
The Usos are
Samoan.
Philippine or
Samoan.
Racially retarded. I don't know if I'm going to say the word, but okay, whatever.
One question and then I need a guess.
Do they have a partner?
Yes. Last, I need a guess. Silence is not a guess, so.
I have no idea. It's Jimmy Uso.
No.
Who the fuck was it?
So do you want an extra 5 questions?
No, because I have no idea who the fuck it is.
So let me try and work you through this here. I struggled with, are they Hispanic? What would cause a problem for, because I obviously know Mexicans are Hispanic, but what are other forms?
Puerto Ricans. Mm-hmm. Who the fuck is Puerto Rican though?
Damian Priest.
Oh, I forgot about it. That's true. Totally
so you're 0-1. Starting off 10 questions is way better.
Damn, that was a good one.
10 questions is way.
He is what I would call ethnically ambiguous.
Yes, but he's definitely Puerto Rican.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Because they're that's why they placed him with Bad Bunny and that whole thing.
Oh.
And that's why they were talking about doing a big show in
Puerto
Rico and using him as a headliner.
I forgot about him.
That is all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning into this Friday's episode of the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you have any suggestions or thoughts on future episodes, please don't hesitate to reach out and drop those in the comment section. And don't forget to join us tomorrow, same place, same time for more wrestling talk. Until then, Lauren, ring the final bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, Casual Wrestling Community Show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't be sure that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, pile driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like for show, but you should